Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin String coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And today I have gone back north of the border for one of the breakfast options. This is a vegetarian breakfast casserole. This is menu 7. On the back of the bag, you see IMP 21. That means it was packed in 2021, and it has the ingredients and nutritional information for the main and the dessert in English and French. These plastic bags are very nice, and they are pretty much watertight until you open them, but they're easy to open, something that USMREs can take a hint from. This tab here, you just pop that up. And you pull it across, and it's all the way off. And then you have a zipper seal, Ziploc. So what that allows a person to do is, if they do not eat all of the ration, or if they want to use it to pack out their trash, they can simply put it back in here, zip up the bag, and then you only have one thing to toss away. And first out is this exact bar. This is chocolate, and this one shows that it is a wafer bar. This is Wild Berry Crunchy Cereal. Lemon Lime Sports Drink. There will be another one of those. And there is the second one. I'll put the second one off to the side. We have peanut butter. This one is blackberry jam. This is cranberry maple trail mix. Now that is definitely a new one. The first retort comes out. This one is a sliced pears. Got tortillas here. I had a plan B in case the bread item was going to be a Canadian cornbread. I still got 2 more IMPs. And if either one of those has the cornbread, I'm going to swap it out for something else. because I want to do a direct comparison between the American cornbread and the Canadian. So this is the entree. This is the vegetarian breakfast casserole. So it's potato based with some other veggies. Then the other items that I will not be using, but I save all these. The beverage bag. The matches. A white matchbook with white tips. Got the spork, which has some similarities to the U.S. Emery spoon. Infamous Canadian paper towel. These have also changed over the years. They used to feel a lot different, and they're a little bit lighter in color than this, but nevertheless, a very good thing to have. This is a Nescafe Sweet and Creamy that goes into the Mike Pressure mug. Got the Canadian Mint compressed towel. There are enough demonstrations of those on YouTube. And then the Tic Tacs 4-pack. So I will hold on to those. Some of the powder escaped. I'm going to go ahead and give this a mix. going to go ahead and put my sweet and creamy in the mug. I've done one of these cereals cold. I may try it hot, but I will have to get a bowl first for that. So what I'm going to do is take the breakfast casserole into the kitchen. And I'm going to also warm up the tortillas, see how that works with these. I've never done that with Canadian tortillas, but I'm going to go ahead and try it. So when I bring back the water for, actually I'll put this in, I'll come back with a bowl. That way when I bring back the kettle, I can put the water in both the coffee and the cereal. I'm going to put that back there for the moment. The directions just say add water to taste. But I'll give you a close-up first. There is some berries. There's that kind of a pinkish color. So now I will go ahead and bring in the hot water. I can already smell the scent from the berries. I think I got enough water in here. I'll put the kettle back in the kitchen. I'm going to go ahead and start opening everything else up. That is the exact bar. I'm just moving my peanut butter and jam off to the side. That is a cranberry maple trail mix. See, now I can take a look at the chat, see who is here. DeCarlos Perry, waffles, spicy tuna rolls. Camp Pet and Family Compound. Tim Riley. Sorry, Prepper for the Ages. Sorry, those icons are really small, even on my tablet. I'm going to go ahead and open up these pears. The pears look pretty decent. I'm going to give my lemon lime drink another mix. I'm going to push my cereal off to the back, and that is where I will put my tortillas, which I'm going to go ahead and get after I give the peanut butter a bit of a knead. This thing does not feel like it has a whole lot of jam in it. So 20 grams. It says for the jam. 20 grams for the peanut butter. But the peanut butter feels heavier, so this might have been shorted on the jam during packaging. I'm going to go ahead and get the tortillas and the entree, and I'll be right back. I am back. Just I'm not going to squeeze any more out of that. There are the tortillas, oxygen absorber left behind. My crusher in the house. Breakfast for dinner. Oh, this is chocolate peanut spread. No wonder it looks a little dark. I misread the packet. It looks a little bit different than the American version. But it was packed by Thermopack. I'm squeezing it all onto this one tortilla. Now this has really thickened up. I'm going to go ahead and take a bite of this first because I think I might end up putting the jam in here. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Otherwise it tastes just a bit plain. This is going to turn this real dark. That definitely wakes that up. Now this vegetarian casserole has potato really small, like you might find in corned beef hash or roast beef hash. There's vegetarian sausage, in other words, TVP. There's the green bell pepper, there's garlic, onion. It is definitely savory. Some people would probably put ketchup on this. And that would probably be a good option if someone had ketchup on them, but I actually like this. This is pretty darn good. The potatoes have a bit more firmness to them than that last entree with potato that I had. Now the other veggies are soft, but you can definitely pick up the veggie sausage crumbles. Right at the end, you should be able to get a good look at that. Some people might want Tabasco or some other hot sauce on this, which would probably work. But just for the sheer heck of it, the tortilla, the flavor of it kind of competes with the flavor of the entree, but it's still not bad. We might have to find something else for DeCarlos to crave. Now, this stuff is plenty salty. This mix here has my favorite nut in it. Has sunflower kernels, pumpkin seeds, cashews, and almonds. The almonds are what have that maple flavoring added to it. There's Tim Riley in the house. The chocolate peanut spread is all inside of this tortilla. And this one I put some of the breakfast casserole in. The chocolate peanut spread has more of the peanut flavor, and it's not quite as sweet as the American one. Although it was packed by Thermopack, so the Canadian government in their contract specified a slightly different recipe than what you would find in American rations. But this is the first time I've had the chocolate peanut spread out of a Canadian ration. And I do like the stronger peanut flavor. The blackberry jam went into the mixed berry cereal. Instead of being combined with the peanut butter. Yeah, there are so many different flavors of Spam these days. Some may be harder to find. Lee of the Cold War Prepper found a Korean barbecue flavor Spam. I believe there may be a hot and spicy one. There is the more well-known flavors like the bacon flavor. I think there's a smoked one. I have turkey Spam that's made with turkey instead of pork. And I also have halal versions from other brands that are made with beef, turkey, and chicken. But there are a variety of flavors of Spam out there. There is a less sodium version that some may be interested in. I have maybe 1 or 2 cans of the turkey Spam in my stash. I have more of the halal versions. In fact, last year during Ramadan, during the last 10 nights where some people were spending the night at the mosque, or they would come for a very early morning prayer. Then we'd have breakfast before first light, and the cook actually cooked up the beef luncheon loaf, and that is really, really dark when it's cooked. A lot darker than the other meats. I'd almost prefer to eat this casserole by itself, but since I have it in a tortilla, I'll just continue eating it this way. A lemon lime sports drink is pretty much like Gatorade. Putting that blackberry jam in here was definitely the way to go with this. It adds a little bit of sweetness and more of that berry flavor. Halal is to Muslims what kosher is to Jews. It is a set of dietary guidelines or rules that govern what is permissible to eat, and for certain foods, how it is to be prepared. Animals have to be hand slaughtered, humanely raised, hand slaughtered in a specific manner. With a blessing or invocation said at the time of the slaughter. And then after that process is complete, then the animal is processed either by hand or with some machines, but supervised by appropriate religious authority. For instance, the company Midamar that I buy some of my meats from is based in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. They got the halal certification from an Islamic authority who deals with that sort of thing. And those labriut and my own meals rations that I've reviewed in the past, those entrees were processed in facilities that have the kosher certification. There are slight differences between halal and kosher rules. Some things that may be permitted in combination in halal food may not be with kosher food for certain times or specific things, but that pretty much is the gist of it. Yep, I like corned beef too. I have a few cans in my stash. The last one that I did pick up was dented, so I went ahead and ate that one. But if you take that corned beef hash and combine it with potatoes like this, or that corned beef, you combine it with potatoes like this, you'd have that corned beef hash. Well, I'm glad I was able to answer some of that for you. I just finished off that tortilla that had some of the breakfast casserole in it. Another thing I could do if I felt like it, I could take some of these cranberries out of here and put them in there, but I don't have a whole lot of that left. There's an Arby's a few blocks from where I live, but I don't go there. I hardly ever hit up fast food places these days. I don't even go into Tasty Tacos very often. And that's just on the other side of the park that's across a street from my building. I just don't have a desire for it. Now, when I used to run all over the city and suburbs, taking numerous buses a day, I would be going into fast food places for lunch. But once I stopped working at that job, I very rarely went into, I really cut back on going into those places. I do go into Gersha every Thursday, but that's not anything like a typical fast food restaurant. That would be like a fast casual. You go up to what looks like a buffet line and you make your selections, and then you pay at the register, and then you just find a table and sit and start eating. They take DoorDash orders, they take Grubhub orders, or no, not Grubhub, they take Uber Eats, and they take another one that I had not heard of before. They do not do Grubhub orders, but they will handle orders for those others. And you can also ask them to cater an evening event. They close up at 7 p.m. They are not open on Mondays. That's probably when some of the staff may take their day off, or they just may do it at strictly a prep day. They prep the ingredients for the different entrees, for the injera, maybe cut lettuce and salad veggies, mix up dressings and things of that sort. Yeah, I used to enjoy going to Quiznos. I found them better than Subway. When I had to spend a couple nights in a hotel in the spring of 24, I did go to a place I had been into a couple times before called Potbelly. It's a sandwich shop, but they also do salad bowls with meat in them, and they do some other bowl meals. And they have this really, really cool looking old time wood stove that is not functional. They don't have a pipe going out because there are other floors above it, but it's just there for decoration. It is a pot-belly stove, but that thing is so cool looking. I had taken a picture of it while I was in there, and I posted it up on Facebook, so it's way back in my picture archive there. But I do like that place. Again, that's just the one I don't go into very often. And Potbelly had sent or had prepared a bunch of lunches for the Transit Rider Advisory Committee a couple of times. That was probably like 3 or 4 years ago. I spent 5 years on that committee, and I dropped off at the close of the December meeting. So in January, someone else will take my seat. But Palmer's, Jimmy John's, Panera, and some others had prepared the boxed lunches. And the dark pays for those. So I got kind of fast casual meals, but I didn't have to pay for. And I don't pay for my Gersha meals because a friend from the mosque pays for those in advance. And of course, Gersha will cater some of our dinners during Ramadan. Speaking of King, when there used to be a downtown Burger King, plus other fast food type places in the Kaleidoscope building up on what was the third floor. I was setting up those places in between clients. Or sometimes I would go into Yonkers and there was a food place down in the basement. I used to go in there. So at least I had variety. And depending on my schedule, I would hit up a place that is not far from where one client lived. So, for instance, I used to hit up the China Chef on Southwest 9th. Or I used to hit up, I think I hit up another Subway in another location. But more often than not, I was going into places in the downtown area. Yeah, I love Tasty Spuds. There was a Thai one up there as well. In fact, I think it was right next to Tasty Spuds. I used to enjoy going in there. And of course, Panda. I was hitting up Panda a lot. I used to hit up Sbarro. There's some places in the Skywalk that I would occasionally go into. There used to be a Coney Island. I used to go in there and get Chicago dogs. So I used to have a lot of places that I would go to. It was just not, or sometimes if I didn't have time to actually sit down and eat a meal, I would go into a nearby store and just buy something as a snack. And then I would eat it while I was waiting for a bus. So I would at least get something in me. I've never been in some places that I had wanted to check out simply because it was just, I thought it would be too expensive. Like what used to be a rotating restaurant at the top of the former Holiday Inn building that's right by the freeway at 6th Avenue. I had never gone in there. I'd only actually been inside that hotel a couple of times, and that was just to visit people who were staying there. But usually, the people that I was visiting had food in their rooms, so or we would go somewhere away from the hotel to get food, and that's what we did. The only one I know of a triangle on the top would be a Primerica building. That's the only famous building I know of with a triangle shape on the top. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. That would definitely be out of my budget if I were in that area, unless someone paid for my meal. That maple flavor pretty much stuck to the almonds. It really didn't migrate to the rest of it, except maybe the cranberries. But the cashews are not roasted salted. Neither are the seeds, but I'm okay with that. This is still a good mix, and I'm happy to get cashews. Oh yeah, that I thought that was really strange the way they did their bread cut. I always had issues with it trying to come apart or just want to slide off the the filling of my sandwich. I guess I just prefer a straight cut when it comes to a sub sandwich. Now, Quiznos never did any weird bread cutting. Potbelly doesn't do that. Other places where I've got sub sandwiches from doesn't do that. Jimmy John's doesn't do that with their rolls. Plus, that weird cut makes it hard to toast the bread and get it evenly toasted. That's another thing I didn't like about that. Yeah, I don't care to go there anymore either. If I want a sub from a restaurant, I'll go to Potbelly. Yeah, putting that blackberry jam in here definitely did the trick with this. Well, it's probably you're getting paid to cheat and let someone else do the work. Or maybe they might do something that you wouldn't otherwise think of. And when I go to Gersha, the salad is just it's lettuce, tomato, onion. I often request a wedge of lime, which I like to squirt on my Goldman or collard greens. But if I'm not having the collard greens that day and he still puts a lime wedge on my plate, I'll squirt that on the salad on top of the dressings that he puts on it. They have a house dressing and a ranch, and he likes to squirt both of them on my salad. But if I got a lime wedge, I'll just squeeze that on too. And you can't get much more basic than that, but someone else is doing it, and I don't have to. Now, those two places I don't know about. A lot of places I know about because I either see their ads on buses or I see their ads elsewhere, but either I just don't care to go to those places or they're not accessible to me. And unless someone gives me a ride to such a place or goes and gets me a meal from there, I just don't bother. Well, that'll take care of that breakfast casserole. Yep, I would definitely recommend this menu. There is one place that I do want to check out that is not too far from Gersha, at Doko Pizza. My oldest sister has had it, but I have not, so I don't know what it's like. I've had the pizza that is part of Principal Park. In fact, my sister called in and ordered ahead of time, and after she picked me up, we went over there to pick up the pizzas, and then went on over to my other sister's house, and that's where we ate those pizzas. I got Dave Burger in the house. Got breakfast for dinner. The mixed berry cereal. I put hot water in here. This had blackberry jam, and I put that in here. And this really made it good. Before I put that jam in there, it really didn't have all that much of a flavor aside from the berries. And that also added a bit of sweetness. Inside of this tortilla is the Canadian version of, let's open this up a bit, chocolate peanut spread. It has more of a pronounced peanut butter flavor in it than what you'll get in American rations, and not quite as sweet. And I like that. It was packed by thermal pack, just like what you get in the American rations, but with the recipe that was given to them by the Canadian government. Got lemon lime drink. This is a maple flavored trail mix, but I've eaten all of the maple flavor coated almonds. We got cranberries, they're cashews, sunflower kernels, and pumpkin seed kernels. The cashews or the seeds are not roasted or salted. And that maple flavoring sort of migrated to the cranberries, but the cashews and the seeds really didn't take up that flavor. Now this Blaze Pizza over by Principal Park, they did meat lovers. They did a barbecue chicken pizza, but the chicken pieces were really big. In fact, some of the chicken pieces are probably as big as that piece of pear. And the barbecue sauce was under the cheese instead of on top. So my sister had ordered a pepperoni pizza and a cheese pizza. It was like two different cheeses on that pizza. So that was pretty decent, but the barbecue chicken, I think they could have done a little better with that one. On those rare occasions when I do get pizza, unless someone else orders it and I'm there to eat some of it, I may go with Northern Lights. I used to get Domino's pizza a lot, but then I tried Northern Lights, and I kind of prefer their pizza over Domino's. But nothing beats Fong's Pizza. If you would love to try an Asian fusion pizza, you need to come here to Des Moines and get Fong's Pizza. Yeah. They have expanded outside of central Iowa, I believe. But since I've tried their pizza, I prefer it over Domino's. Now, there is a Little Caesars near my mosque, so during Ramadan, we get their cheese pizzas and veggie pizzas on Tuesdays. But the guy that runs that place gives us a big discount for ordering 25 to 30 pizzas. So we give them enough of a heads up that we're going to be wanting those pizzas, and they just start knocking them out. And that's in addition to their regular business. I haven't had a Casey's pizza in a long time, but I really need to go up the street to that Casey's that is just a few blocks from here. On East 14th, north of Grand. I need to go in there. I haven't even been inside that place yet, and I really want to go in there. Yeah, CT. I don't know if he's still, if he's driving down here in the U.S. I don't know if he still chases down Casey's Pizzas or not. He preferred the thin crust. He tried a thick crust once, but at that particular location, he didn't like it. And speaking of Casey's, now that Wells Fargo Arena has been renamed the Casey's Center, if you come here to Des Moines and you're attending either a Des Moines D League or G League basketball game, or you are attending a hockey game, or some other event where they have their concessions area open, you can get Casey's Pizza in there. Yeah, I miss seeing CT put stuff up on his channel. I wish he would at least do a little something. I don't know if he lost a bug or what, but I'd love to see him do something on his channel again. Pears, typical canned pears. Pretty soft. But you definitely get fruit more often in a Canadian ration than an American one. That piece was a bit firmer. That's another thing I like about the Canadian rations. You do get fruit. It would be nice to see a cake or a turnover or a filled bun or something like that. But for me, I'm definitely happy with the fruit. That is definitely one I have not had from them in a long time. I don't know if I've ever had a Casey's taco pizza, but I have had taco pizzas from other places. But I'd love to try that one. That is the inside of the exact bar. I'm kind of getting that protein taste from the filling. But it's not a bad bar. Would I rather have a coffee crisp? Oh, yeah. That was a little sliver off of this that fell into the pear juice. That filling, to me, kind of tastes like it has that sensation of like you were eating shortening, flavored shortening, but it's got that protein stuff in there. And it kind of has that texture of shortening. It's not rancid. It just definitely has that protein supplement flavor in there. Thanks for dropping in, Mike. Yeah, LC was wanting to get in here, but I have a feeling she got tied up with other stuff. But she can catch the replay. I dug out the exact bar. Has 15 grams of protein in it. I kind of obliterated the other side with the nutritional stuff when I opened it. On the side it said Pro Crunch. Just thought I'd show you that wrapper. Since this is a 21 ration, I'm sure a fresher bar would probably taste a little better. Taking a drink of the coffee after eating a bite of that definitely cuts through that protein flavor. Kind of enhances the chocolate. And that's not a bad thing. Yeah, it's that filling, that protein stuff that they use in it, and that shortening texture. It is a bit weird. But it wasn't so bad that I couldn't finish that off. But I had to help the flavor out by taking a drink of the coffee. Now the Soldier Fuel bars, I like those. I wouldn't mind pulling one of those out of one of the other two Canadian rations that I have. So I am down to 2 IMPs. So next Sunday it will be back across the border. I'll either pull out one of my Case A22 or my Case B24s that I have left. I'll save my remaining halal one for next year. Of course, January 11th is my birthday, and since that's on a Sunday, I think I'm going to do something a little different. Yeah, sure, I could pull out my favorite MCW menu, but I want to do something a little more fun, a little more interesting. And I got the loose ration components to do just that. And I think it'll be a fun one. So the 21st, that's, I'll have one more after that, and then that'll be done for the year. Yeah. Thanks for dropping in, Tim. So the 21st and the 28th will be my last two reviews for the year. Then we get into 26. I'll be on the hunt for some new rations. And I will definitely be looking for a US based seller for foreign rations. In one of the in one of the ration groups on Facebook, some people have been complaining about one seller that sells U.S. and foreign, and all the foreign stuff is shipped in. And well, if your foreign package gets rated, they don't do squat. I ordered the same French RCIR menu twice. Both got rated. And in one of them, they took an item that doesn't even contain a meat product. They took that out. And yet, when I ordered a Polish ration. Now they took the main out of that one, but yet the seller slipped in a freebie which contained a meat product. In fact, it was a pork product, but I had since passed that on. It was a French entree that contained pork. The thieves let that one go by. They didn't take that one, but they took the beef main out of the Polish ration. So I don't get that one. So a lot of people in that group are saying they will not buy from that company again, not even US stuff. And I've seen ads for this MRE's World, but it looks like all you can get are cases or smaller group lots. And it's just American MREs. I've even seen ads for them here on YouTube, as well as Facebook ads. But what I would love to get is a fresher case of halal MREs. I've never had a full case of them before. And I would love to get my paws on a fresher case of those, newer than 21 or 22. The one I did last week was packed in 21. Yeah, that's a bummer. Some of these eBay sellers, and some of the messenger, the Facebook ration chats or the groups, there are people in other countries who they say they will ship within, say, the EU, or maybe within Canada, or within whatever country they're in, but may not ship to the US because of the thievery going on. Yeah, they are bizarre. I mean, when Foreign MRE got in some Norwegian Arctic field rations, one of those, the drink mix was taken out. And out of another one, the cranberry cereal bar was taken out. Now, what's up with that nonsense? Yeah, why would they steal a drink mix or a cereal bar? Yeah, I miss those days of being able to get foreign rations without any problem other than mail carrier mishandling. Yeah, that's, yeah, I don't think they actually destroy everything that they steal. They get a meal or a snack on us. That's what they're doing. I think someone, I don't remember who it was, but out of a French or British ration, one of those nougat bars was taken out. It's just plain stupid what's going on. And a lot of these, the food is better quality than what you get in an American ration. You don't have a lot of the crap ingredients. if it's properly prepared and properly packaged, there should be no issue. One time, just as a test, I talked about this before, but for those who may not remember that, if they're newer to my channel, I had ordered a USMRE. It was a halal one, I believe, and it shipped from Lithuania. And even though it was an American ration, because it was shipped from another country, I was curious if those thieves would get their claws on it and take anything from it, but it was left alone. I was actually quite surprised. I actually expected that one to get raided, but it did not. I don't know if they let it pass because it was American ration or they just weren't hungry. But yeah, I'm definitely going to stick to U.S. based sellers for foreign rations. And I was chatting it up with a guy who showed some pictures, but the one Spanish, I've already had that a couple of times. In fact, I traded one of them with some other stuff for ration, and then the other one, it was a lunch menu, but the main contained pork, so I said, nope, not doing that. And then the breakfast one, I didn't even bother. But if that guy still has something else at the end of the month when I get my money for January, I may hit him up and see what he has. He's here in the U.S. That's okay. I had breakfast for dinner. Vegetarian breakfast casserole. The main component was really tiny diced potatoes, about the size that you would find in a corned beef hash or the roast beef hash. It had some green bell pepper. It had veggie sausage crumbles, basically TBP. It had some garlic and onion and other unspecified seasonings other than salt. It didn't mention black pepper. Then I had chocolate peanut spread packed by an American company, Thermopack, but with a recipe specified by the Canadian government. The peanut flavor is a bit stronger in the Canadian version and not quite as sweet as the American version. And so I put that on one of the two tortillas. The other tortilla I tried with the potatoes in it, but actually preferred to eat that one plain. The breakfast casserole by itself. Then this bowl had a mixed berry cereal, and I added the blackberry jam to it. Then had sliced pears there. Then there was a cranberry honey or cranberry maple trail mix. The maple flavoring was on the almonds only. The cashews and sunflower and pumpkin seeds were not roasted or salted. The cranberries took a bit of that maple flavoring from the almonds, but it's a good mix. And then got lemon lime drink there, Nescafe sweet and creamy there. And then there's a chocolate exact protein bars, a wafer bar with protein filling in it. It has a bit of an odd flavor and an odd texture to it, but the wafer part and the chocolate layer, those are perfectly fine. It's that protein filling that is a bit weird. But then again, this is a 21 ration. So if it was a fresher one, that bar probably might taste better, but then who knows? It got down to -6 here in Des Moines last night. And right now the temperature is 8 degrees. I think we had gotten as high as 10 today. So it's supposed to warm up in 30s and 40s this week. So we'll have melting during the day and then refreeze at night. So my boots with my spikes will still be going on my feet before I head out. I think yesterday was not all that warm, but definitely warmer than today. But the wind wasn't so bad today. I'd taken out, yesterday I'd gone to the mailbox and I took out a bag of trash, my bathroom trash. The snow had not been completely, our blade guy didn't come until later on at night to scrape the parking lot and the driveways. And then someone did the sidewalk, but I had already gone out and got the mail, took out a bag of trash to the dumpster, and then today I went out and took out my kitchen trash plus the cat crap, and the wind was a lot calmer today. Which is nice, but you definitely felt the cold. I even stayed out there a little bit and kind of maneuvered the trash around in the dumpster because it was all piled up on one side, and I managed to shove some of it over to the other side, or the lid had not been flipped back, and I knocked some of the snow off the half of the lid that was still down. So hopefully making it easier for other people to toss their trash in. Yeah, that's why I will be wearing my boots with my spikes on them. Of course, I don't carry another pair of shoes with me unless I'm going to the mosque. Then I will put a pair of shoes in another bag and carry that because I don't want to wear my spikes on the tile floor. So I change shoes once I get inside, put my boots on the shoe shelf that everybody puts their shoes on before they go up to the prayer room. And then I just put those other shoes on. Then go do my thing. So Thursday, I cut up a bunch of onions. I staged the rice for the lunch we serve after the Friday prayer. I opened up a box of the foam carryouts that we use to put the food in. We started doing that once we resumed the lunches after dealing with shutdowns of the big nasty. And people seem to like that better because a lot of times they don't have time to sit and eat their lunch right there in our community room. They just take it and go. They'll take it back to work or school if they attend one of the colleges in town, or they just, they want to get home before, say, weather gets bad. Some will eat there in our community room, but most just take it and go. So I staged those. Of course, on the 25th, some holiday interferes with my fun, so someone else will have to do that because no buses run. But this coming week, I want to get a few more onions because I'm not quite there with enough for this Friday's lunch, but I want to get another bunch chopped up and bagged so there will be enough for at least the 26th. That's what I do. I also check on the supplies, make sure that we have what we need. We're getting stocked up for Ramadan already. And in my shopping haul, those 2 bottles of hand soap that I got on Amazon Subscribe and Save, I'm going to take those to the mosque this coming Thursday, and they will be saved up for use during Ramadan. Others donate stuff like that too, but I do what I can. Oh, yeah, we are hopefully, because Ramadan will be coming up starting in February, our aim is to try to get at least 150-pound bag of onions and then divide that up between several people to chop up and bag and then fill up gallon Ziploc bags and then throw those in the freezer. Last year what I had done is some of the onions that were chopped, I went ahead and fried them, threw some seasonings in, and then let them cool down, and then put those in containers, stuck those in the freezer. So I did about 2 or 3 different seasoning blends. And then depending on what meat was being cooked, then I would pull those 1 or 2 of those out of the requested seasoning blend, move them to the fridge. So we went through 3 50-pound bags of onions plus some smaller quantities of onions during Ramadan. So it probably went through maybe almost 200 pounds of onions in total last year during Ramadan. That's a lot. But doing this stuff on Thursdays, I don't mind it. It gives me something to do. It keeps me out of trouble half the time. Being that I don't have a job, at least in the traditional sense, I am free to do that. I enjoy doing that. It makes me practice one knife skill. I don't do a whole lot of trying to thinly slice. I get good at just chopping up. I do thicker slices, but trying to do thin slice, nope. That just doesn't work for me. I can't do that. But, I don't mind doing it. I love doing it, and I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can. We usually do between 150 to 200. Occasionally, if we get advance notice far, ahead of time, we can accommodate more. I think it was like 2018 or 2019. One night we fed over 500. That was a logistical nightmare. Or at least it could have been, but because we had enough advance warning, we were able to get it done. We had some cooks cook their food in their own kitchens or in a restaurant kitchen and bring that in. And then our kitchen started going in the morning. The mosque kitchen started going in the morning. And I had made a triple batch of the mango lassi, which is whole milk, mango pulp, and thawed out vanilla ice cream. I made triple the amount that I normally make. And we had about 5 people doing salads. We had several people doing other desserts. So we had, because it was still nice weather in that year, people could sit at the 4 picnic tables we have outside. People were sitting out there to eat. People were eating in the lobby. People were eating in the kitchen and in our supply room, as well as the kids' room. The only place people were not eating was in the prayer room and the nursery. And we just don't allow food up in those 2 rooms. But other than that, I think there might have even been a few people eating in the imam's office. But yeah, we got that done. It was a lot of work, and it took a whole bunch of people to get it done, but we got it done. Oh, it is really good. I think I had done a video on it probably several years ago. But it's been a while since I'd done that. But because of how much we normally go through, it's a pretty huge batch, but we serve it in those little cups that maybe hold about, I think they're 5-ounce cups. And we fill them about no more than 3/4 full, just to make sure everybody gets a little bit of it. And we serve that along with dates for people to break their fast with before praying the sunset prayer, and then we eat our dinner after that. But we go through 2 buckets of the 5-quart vanilla ice cream that is picked up from Costco, 2 gallons of whole milk, and then we've upped it to 3 cans of the mango pulp. They're like 28-ounce cans. Those come from Hillel Groceries, and the milk is usually picked up from Costco as well. And then the ice cream and the milk is picked up for several days and stored at Hillel Groceries. And then it's brought in every day or every 2 days to the mosque. And then what's brought to the mosque is then replaced to store at Hillel, and let the ice cream thaw out so it's a lot easier to mix. But if it's not thawed out enough, if I have time, I'll use a stick blender to help mix it. What I don't like to do, but what I've had to do, is thaw the ice cream out in the microwave. I do not like doing that, but if that's the only way to get thawed out enough where it can be mixed, then I'll do that, but I prefer not to. But that has been served at the mosque since before I started attending there back in 2009. So it was being served long before then. The person who started doing it, she had to stop mixing it herself, so I took over from her. But then a few years ago, she passed away, but we still choose to do it. In fact, she still paid for the cups up until she died. She was paying for those little cups, and she would even pay for the mango pulp. But others have had to step up to do that. But what I like to do with it is if I make a small batch for myself, I like to refreeze it after it's mixed and then eat it like ice cream. In fact, a few years ago, I made a really small amount of it at the cabin for my family to try. We drank some after I mixed it and then froze the rest, and then we ate it that way. And they liked it both ways. And if you do that, if you mix it and then you refreeze it, it makes a great summertime treat. That's okay. I'm probably gonna go ahead and call this one done. I'm down to my drinks, which I'm gonna be polishing off. But I should probably do another mango lassi video if I can during Ramadan. But if I can't, well, I'll just have to do it on my own. Yep, I'm going to polish off my coffee, and I'm going to go ahead and call this one done. Again, thanks to Mike Kreischer for replacing my MKR mug. I like this one. Light inside so you can see the stuff inside. And I want to thank you all for hanging out with me tonight for breakfast for dinner. I do recommend this menu. It's worth a shot, and I think you'll enjoy it just like I did. And if I get it again, I might have a little fun with it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and catch you on the flip side.